"You slept with her." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Ada Okafor sat on the edge of her bed, still fully dressed at midnight, her hands trembling. The bedroom was dark except for the bedside lamp casting long shadows across the walls. When the front door finally opened, she didn't move. She heard her husband Chike entering, the familiar sound of his keys, his footsteps. But tonight, everything was different. He appeared in the doorway, loosening his tie. And that's when she saw it, the smudged lipstick on his collar, the same expensive scent that woman had worn at the wedding. "You slept with her," Ada repeated, her voice cold and steady despite the storm raging inside. Chike froze. The silence was deafening. "Ada, He started, his voice defensive. "Don't." She cut him off, standing up. Her voice rose, breaking through the careful control. "Don't you dare lie to me, Chike. I can smell her perfume on you. That same expensive scent she wore at the wedding." "Ada, please, let me explain." She laughed bitterly, tears now streaming down her face. "Explain what? That you've been thinking about Ngozi since she walked into that wedding venue? That our 5-year marriage means nothing? It's not like that. It was a mistake. I don't know what happened. We were talking and drinking and—" "Get out," Ada screamed. "Get out of my house." "This is my house too, Ada. We need to talk about this." She grabbed a pillow and threw it at him. "You want to talk? Now you want to talk? After months of silence, after years of treating me like I'm invisible, you saved your words for her?" Ada collapsed on the bed, sobbing. Chike took a step forward, his own voice breaking. "Ada, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." She looked up at him with devastated eyes. "Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't erase what you did. Get out, Chike. I can't even look at you right now." He stood there for a moment, realizing the magnitude of what he'd done. I'll sleep at Tunde's place tonight. But Ada, I love you. I know I messed up, but if you loved me," Ada whispered, "you wouldn't have touched her." Chike took his car keys and left. The sound of the door closing echoed through the empty apartment as Ada's sobs filled the room. But this wasn't where their story began. To understand how they arrived at this devastating moment, we need to go back. Back 3 weeks earlier, back 5 years earlier, back to when everything was different. 3 weeks before that terrible night, Ada and Chike Okonkwo lived like strangers in their own home. Their beautiful Lagos apartment was modern and well-furnished, with wedding photos adorning the walls. But those smiling faces in the frames bore little resemblance to the cold reality of their daily lives. It was a Tuesday morning. Ada moved quietly through the kitchen, preparing breakfast with mechanical efficiency. Chike sat at the dining table, scrolling through his phone, barely acknowledging her presence. She placed his food in front of him. "Your breakfast is ready," she said softly. "Thanks," he muttered, eyes never leaving his screen. The silence between them was heavy, oppressive. Ada sat down across from him with her own plate. They ate without speaking, without making eye contact. This had become their routine. 2 people sharing space, but nothing more. Finally, Ada broke the silence. "Kiyoma's wedding is this Saturday. We need to confirm if we're attending." Chike barely looked up. "Yeah, I'll be there. Work has been crazy, so I might go straight from the office." Ada's disappointment was visible, though she tried to hide it. Separately, again, "Ada, don't start. I said I'd be there." She said nothing more. What was there to say? This was their marriage now. Roommates who occasionally attended social events together. The passionate love they'd once shared had evaporated, leaving only obligation and routine. Narrator. Later that afternoon, Ada sat in her office with her colleague Blessing during lunch break. Blessing had known Ada since university and could see the toll this marriage was taking on her friend. "Girl, you look tired," Blessing said gently. "Marriage stress?" Ada forced a smile. "Is it that obvious?" "Ada, I've known you for years. You're not yourself anymore. When was the last time you and Chike went on a date, had a real conversation?" Ada sighed deeply, the weight of 5 years pressing down on her. "We're just roommates, Blessing. We share a bed, pay bills, attend events together. But there's no us anymore." "Then why are you still there?" Ada paused, considering the question she'd asked herself 1,000 times. Because I made a vow? Because I keep hoping something will change? Because I still remember who he used to be when we first reconnected. Narrator. And with those words, Ada's mind drifted back 10 years to when everything was different, back to the beginning. It was a warm Lagos afternoon at a business conference. 25-year-old Ada Okafor, fresh and hopeful in her new career, was networking when she heard a voice from her past. "Ada? Ada Okafor?" She turned to see a face she hadn't seen in a decade. "Chike! Chike Okonkwo, is that really you?" They laughed and embraced, the years melting away instantly. "It's been, 10 years? Chike said, his smile genuine and warm. "You look amazing." "You too. I can't believe this. What are you doing here?" "Working in investment banking now. You?" "Project management. Just started with a tech firm." "This is crazy." The chemistry between them was immediate, natural. They talked excitedly, catching up on a decade of life. "We have so much to catch up on," Chike said. "Can I take you to dinner?" Ayla smiled, a real smile, one that reached her eyes. "I'd love that." That evening, they sat in a cozy restaurant, sharing stories and laughter. The conversation flowed effortlessly, as if no time had passed at all. "Remember Mr. Okonkwo's physics class?" Chike asked, laughing. "You were the only one who understood that man." "And you were always late," Ada teased. Her expression grew more thoughtful. "But seriously, I lost touch with everyone after secondary school, even Ngozi." At the mention of that name, Chike's expression shifted slightly. "Ngozi? Wow. Haven't heard that name in years." "You two dated, right? In SS3? "Yeah, but it was puppy love. She moved abroad right after graduation. We lost touch completely. I heard she went to London for university." "She was my best friend," Ada said softly. "We were inseparable until her family relocated. I tried reaching out, but nothing." Chike reached across the table, taking her hand. "Well, I'm glad I found you again. This feels right, Ada. Like maybe we were supposed to reconnect." Ada felt something stir in her heart, something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Over the next 2 years, Ada and Chike built something beautiful. They walked on beaches at sunset, holding hands and dreaming of the future. Chike introduced Ada to his mother, Mama Okonkwo, a traditional and commanding woman who approved of the match warmly. "You are a good woman," Mama Okonkwo told Ada. "You will make my son a good wife." And then came the proposal. In a garden lit with fairy lights and filled with flowers, Chike went down on one knee. "Ada, from the moment I saw you again at that conference, I knew. You're my person, my future. Will you marry me?" Through tears of joy, Ada said yes. Their wedding was everything they'd dreamed of. The traditional ceremony was vibrant and colorful, with Ada in stunning coral beads and Chike in matching traditional attire. Mama Okonkwo beamed with pride as they were blessed.
The white wedding was elegant and romantic. Ada walked down the aisle in a breathtaking lace gown, and when Chike saw her, tears streamed down his face. "You're beautiful," he whispered as she reached him. They exchanged vows of forever, of love, of partnership. When the pastor pronounced them husband and wife, they kissed as their family and friends erupted in celebration. For 2 years, they were happy. Chike was attentive, romantic, present. Ada felt chosen, cherished. They built a life together filled with promise and love. But then, slowly, things began to change.
3 years into their marriage, cracks began to appear. Chike started coming home later and later. The man who had once rushed home to be with his wife now found excuses to stay at the office. One evening, Ada waited for him at the dining table, dinner growing cold. When he finally walked in after midnight, she couldn't hide her frustration. "You missed dinner again," she said quietly. Chike looked exhausted. "Work is demanding, Ada. You know this." "It's been demanding for 6 months straight. You're never home anymore." His irritation flared. "I'm building a career for us, for our future." "What future, Chike?" Ada's voice broke. "We don't talk. We don't laugh. We don't connect anymore." "I'm tired, Ada. Can we not do this tonight?" He walked to the bedroom, leaving her alone in the living room. Ada sat there, feeling the first tears begin to fall, marking the beginning of a long, lonely season. The distance grew wider with each passing month. Conversations became transactional. Affection became rare. They went through the motions of marriage, paying bills, attending family functions, sleeping in the same bed, but the spark was gone. Ada carried this burden quietly, hoping and praying that somehow they'd find their way back to each other. She didn't know that the real test of their marriage was about to arrive in the form of a ghost from their past. One evening, Ada was scrolling through social media when she stopped at a post from Chioma, their former classmate. The post read, "So excited for my special day. Can't wait to celebrate with my Queens College family. Special shout out to my girl Ngozi, flying in all the way from London. Hashtag reunion, hashtag class of 2009. Ada's heart dropped. There was a photo of Chioma and Ngozi, glamorous, confident, glowing. And Ngozi, her former best friend, Chike's ex-girlfriend. Ada stared at the image as memories flooded back. She remembered being 16, wearing their green and white school uniform, linking arms with Ngozi as they walked through the schoolyard. "Ada, you're my ride or die," young Ngozi had said, laughing. "We're going to be friends forever." "Forever and ever," young Ada had agreed. "Nothing can separate us." Then Ngozi had leaned in, whispering conspiratorially, "That's Chike Okonkwo. He just asked me to be his girlfriend." Ada had been genuinely excited for her friend. "Chichi, that's amazing. He's so handsome." "I know, right? We're perfect together." But that was 15 years ago. Lifetimes ago. Ngozi had moved to London with her family right after graduation, and they'd lost touch completely. No calls, no emails, nothing. It was as if their friendship had never existed. And now she was coming back. Ada felt a cold dread settle in her stomach. She didn't know why, but something told her that Ngozi's return would change everything. She picked up her phone and called Blessing. "Blessing, Ngozi is coming to the wedding," Ada said, her voice tight with anxiety. "You're Ngozi, the secondary school best friend?" "Yes, and she doesn't know I'm married to Chike. We haven't spoken in over 10 years.
Blessing tried to reassure her. Ada, that's ancient history. You reconnected with Chike years after they broke up. You did nothing wrong. I know, but Ada couldn't shake the feeling. I have this bad feeling like something is about to go wrong. You're overthinking it. It'll be fine. But as Ada hung up the phone, she couldn't shake the sense of impending disaster.
Saturday arrived bright and beautiful. Chioma's wedding was being held at a lavish venue in Lekki, complete with elaborate decorations and an atmosphere of celebration. Ada arrived looking stunning in her coral lace aso ibi with a matching gele. She found Chike already seated, chatting with old classmates. "You made it," she said, sliding into the seat beside him. "Yeah, traffic was terrible," he replied, barely looking at her. The ceremony was beautiful, and soon the reception was in full swing. Nigerian music filled the air as guests danced and celebrated. Ada and Chike sat at their table, maintaining the polite distance that had become their norm. Then the MC's voice boomed through the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a special welcome to our London returnee, the beautiful Ngozi Adeyemi." The crowd erupted in applause, and then she entered. Ngozi was stunning. There was no other word for it. She wore a gold sequined dress that caught every light, her long black hair with honey highlights flowing in perfect waves. She carried herself with the confidence of someone who knew she was the most beautiful person in the room. She waved to the crowd like a celebrity, soaking in the attention. And then her eyes scanned the room and landed on their table, on Chike. Ada watched her husband's reaction with growing alarm. His smile froze. His eyes widened. It was the look of someone seeing a ghost, or perhaps seeing something they'd never forgotten. "Zainab?" Ada whispered, using Ngozi's full name. "Ngozi Adeyemi?" Chike cleared his throat uncomfortably. Yes, that's her. Your Ngozi? The one from secondary school?" "She wasn't my Ngozi, Ada. That was almost 15 years ago." But Ada saw the way he was looking at her, and her stomach turned to ice. Ngozi spotted their table, and her eyes lit up. She made her way through the crowd, arms outstretched, heading straight for them. "Chike Okafor, is that really you?" she squealed. She pulled him into a tight embrace that lasted far too long. Ada watched, her smile frozen on her face, as this woman pressed herself against her husband. When Ngozi finally pulled back, she seemed to notice Ada for the first time. "This is my wife, Adana," Chike said awkwardly. "Ada." Ngozi's face went through a series of expressions: surprise, recognition, and something else. Something cold. "Wife," she said slowly. Then recognition dawned. "Ada. Ada Okonkwo." A laugh escaped her lips, not a happy one. "Wow, congratulations." Ada extended her hand formally. "It's Ada Okonkwo now, actually. Chike and I are married." Silence fell over their little group. Ngozi's eyes flashed with something dangerous. Hurt, betrayal, anger, but she covered it quickly with a smile. "Married," she repeated. "How romantic. My best friend and my first love, together. Ngozi, we didn't even know where you were. You disappeared." She cut her off, her voice sweet, but her eyes cold. "Of course, life happens, right? Well, I'm here now, and we have so much to catch up on." She walked away, joining other classmates, but Ada saw the way she looked back at them. It wasn't friendly. It was calculating, predatory. "That was awkward," Ada said quietly. "She'll get over it," Chike replied, but his voice was unconvincing. It was 15 years ago. But Ada knew better. She'd seen the look in Ngozi's eyes. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. The dance. Narrator. As the reception continued, Ada tried to enjoy herself, but she couldn't shake the feeling of unease. She watched as Ngozi worked the room, laughing and reconnecting with old classmates, but every so often, her eyes would drift back to their table, back to Chike. Eventually, Ada excused herself to use the restroom. It was a mistake.
When she returned, she found Ngozi at their table, sitting in Ada's empty seat, leaning close to Chike at the bar. "So you married my best friend," Ngozi was saying, her voice low and intimate. "We didn't plan it, Ngozi," Chike said defensively. "We reconnected by chance. Did you ever think about me? About us? We were kids. You left without saying goodbye." Ngozi leaned even closer, her hand touching his arm. "I wrote you letters, called you. You never responded." "I never got any letters. Maybe," Ngozi's voice dropped to a whisper, "maybe we were meant to find our way back to each other. Maybe it's not too late." That's when Ada arrived, her presence cutting through the intimate moment like a knife. "Is everything okay here?" she asked, her voice tight. Ngozi smiled up at her, not moving from Ada's seat. "Just reminiscing. Chike, save me a dance later." She walked away, leaving Ada and Chike in tense silence. "What did she say to you?" Ada demanded. "Nothing. She's just being nostalgic." "Chike, I know you see it too. She's not happy about us." Irritation flashed across his face. "You're reading too much into it. Let's just enjoy the wedding." But Ada's instincts were screaming danger, and she was right to be afraid. Narrator. Later in the evening, Ngozi approached Chike on the dance floor. Ada watched, helpless, as Ngozi extended her hand. "That dance you promised me?" Chike hesitated, looking at Ada. She gave a tight nod, not trusting her voice. As they moved onto the dance floor, Ada sat alone at the table, gripping her champagne glass so tightly her knuckles turned white. She watched as Ngozi pressed close to her husband, her hand on his shoulder, whispering something in his ear that made him look uncomfortable. But he didn't pull away. Other guests danced around them, laughing and celebrating, completely unaware of the drama unfolding. Ada felt like she was drowning in a room full of people. A tear threatened to fall, but she blinked it back. Not here, not in public. When the song finally ended, Chike returned to the table. The tension between them was suffocating. "I'm leaving," he announced. "Tunde and some of the guys want to hang out." Ada's voice was barely a whisper. "Is Ngozi going to be there?" "I don't know, Ada. Maybe. We're all old classmates." She looked up at him, really looked at him. "Chike, please, come home with me. Let's talk, really talk." For a moment, something flickered in his eyes. Guilt? Regret? But then it was gone. "Not tonight. I'm tired." He walked away, leaving her sitting alone as other couples danced and celebrated around her. Ada had never felt more alone in her life.
Narrator told himself he was just meeting old friends, just having a few drinks, just catching up on old times. But deep down, he knew why he'd really agreed to go. The hotel bar was upscale and dimly lit, with soft music playing in the background. A group of their former classmates gathered around the bar, laughing and reminiscing. And there, positioned strategically close to Chike, was Ngozi. She'd changed out of the gold dress into something more casual, but equally expensive. Her hair fell in loose waves around her shoulders. She looked beautiful, and she knew it. As the night wore on, people gradually left. Early morning flights, babysitters waiting, long drives home. The group dwindled until it was just Chike and Ngozi, sitting at the bar with empty glasses between them. Chike knew he should leave, should call his wife, should go home. But he didn't. "Remember our first kiss?" Ngozi asked, her voice soft and intimate, behind the lab building. Chike laughed uncomfortably. "That was a lifetime ago." "Was it?" She moved closer, her thigh touching his. "Because sitting here with you, it feels like yesterday. Do you ever wonder what could have been?" "I'm married, Gigi." The old nickname slipped out before he could stop it. Her eyes lit up at the sound of it. "To my best friend," she said pointedly, "who clearly makes you miserable. I saw how disconnected you two were at the wedding. No spark, no life. Marriage is complicated. Or maybe," Ngozi placed her hand on his knee, "maybe you married the wrong person." And then she kissed him. For a moment, a terrible, devastating moment, Chike didn't pull away. The alcohol, the nostalgia, the loneliness he'd been feeling in his marriage, it all came crashing together. He kissed her back. It was a mistake. He knew it even as it was happening, but he didn't stop. What happened next would haunt Chike for the rest of his life. He went to Ngozi's hotel room, and he betrayed every vow he'd ever made to Ada. As he lay in that hotel bed afterward, Ngozi sleeping beside him, reality crashed down on him like a tidal wave. What had he done? He thought of Ada, his wife, the woman who had been patient with him, who had stood by him even as he'd pushed her away, the woman he'd promised to love and cherish, and he'd just destroyed her. He got dressed quietly and left the hotel, driving through the early morning Lagos streets, his mind racing. He couldn't go home, not yet, not like this. He drove to his friend Tunde's apartment and knocked on the door at 5 in the morning.